So now that we've got our form set up, now we want to actually do something with it via PHP, or do something with the information that's being submitted in PHP. So since we have an action of blank, it's going to submit back to the same page that the form itself is on, and we can take advantage of that and actually process the information on that same page. Now the first thing we're interested in is how that information is being submitted. And depending on the method, it will come in several different ways. And they are called superglobals. So when you submit a form to a page, to a PHP page, PHP gathers it all together and puts it in one of these superglobals. And these are get, post, and obviously if I'm submitting it via post, then it's going to be available via the post superglobal. If I was to set this to get, then it would submit via the get superglobal. And then we can also, there is one called request, and this is going to take it's going to accept the information regardless of whether it came from get or post, and it merges it all together so you have one array that you can make use of any information that's been submitted to that page. And then there's also a superglobal called files, and we'll look at that in the next video, but that's going to be how we handle files that have been uploaded and things like that. So these are the superglobals, and they're going to be set if information has been submitted via that method. So if we want to say, okay, we only want to do something with the information if it's actually been submitted to avoid errors and things like that, then we could come in and say if not empty post, for instance. And so this code in here is only going to execute if there's actually post information has been submitted. Now, we're not actually going to do anything with this information right off the bat, but we want to see what's being submitted. So I'm going to create some pre-tags here, so we'll preserve line breaks in the output. And then I'm going to use print R. And that's basically saying, okay, let's take an array and dump it straight to the screen. And so in this case, since I'm interested in the post array, then I can do that. So if we come back to our page over here, let's actually fill the form out and submit it. We're not going to worry about the files this time. So now when I submit it, we see it's an array. This is what's being printed out via print R. So we have an array, a key value pair of first name and Andrew. You'll notice that this is the name in our input. All these are the names in our inputs, and all the information was submitted along with it. Now you notice that this creates a subarray of interest in programming and studying, and that's because we did the interest with the bracket programming, interest, studying down here. Now the useful thing about that is now that we have a subarray, we could actually loop through that if we wanted to for a group of checkboxes. Here's the description, and you also see that our submit button submitted a value as well. So that's all pretty simple, straightforward stuff. We could have changed these to request if we wanted to. The only downside is that if we actually had a get variable in our name or in our URL, then it would have caused an issue. We didn't actually save that. Then it's going to process, and we might not want it to do that. So we need to be careful what we're testing with and make sure that we're actually testing for the right thing.